All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is me giving it a go once more. You should be able to hear my voice by now. And we're doing some boxing. We're talking boxing. But before we do, let me sing the song one more time. I will praise you, O Lord, with my whole heart. I will show forth your marvelous works, and I will sing and rejoice in you. I'll sing praise to your name, O Most High. We will praise you, O Lord, with all heart. To show forth your marvelous works, and we will sing and rejoice in you. We'll sing praise to your name, O Most High. Jesus is the reason I'm here today. I'm part of the body of Christ. You know, it says, yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. Kingdom, power, and the glory. And all of us have access to that kingdom, the power of God, and the glory of God. And so that's why I want to share with you guys Jesus Christ, the beginning of our existence into eternity and the very end of a life before. Shout out to each and every one of you guys, man. We're going to talk some boxing right now. So over the weekend, I made some predictions. I made a prediction between Brook and Michael Zerafa. Favoring Brook. I made a prediction concerning Michael Sorrell versus Greg Vendetti, and I had Michael Sorrell. Miguel Vazquez versus Tulani Mbenga, and I picked Vazquez. I was wrong. Mbenga won by knockout. And Vasily Lomachenko versus Jose Pedraza. I picked Lomachenko. I got Lomachenko. But we want to talk a little bit more about those fights right now. We want to talk a little bit more about those fights. So let me get into it really quickly because it's almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I got to go and get some other things before I come back here. So let's talk about it. Let's start with Miguel Vazquez versus Mbenga. Well, that ended in a knockout. And it's ironic because the fights that we expected to have knockouts in, those fights actually ended up going the distance. And the fight where I didn't think it would have a knockout ended up having a knockout. So Mbengi, he was able to knock out Miguel Vazquez. This is, of course, a welterweight bout. And Tulani Mbengi is a up-and-coming South African boxer. And he was able to defeat Miguel Vazquez, knocking him out the second time Miguel Vazquez has been knocked out of recent times. I guess he moved up too many weight classes or something. And so Mbengi got that win. He was the favorite going in, and he proved to be the favorite in that fight. Miguel Vazquez being a long reigning champion at lightweight. Congratulations to Michel Sorrell. Michel Sorrell again winning his bout. This bout was this was a super welterweight bout. This bout was it was a super welterweight bout, and it's actually for the interim WBA super welterweight title. So kudos to him on that. He stopped Greg Vendetti. Michel Sorrell, I keep my eyes on him because he's a very promising boxer. And then we come to the fight between Brook and Michael Zerafa. I told you Michael Zerafa is a good boxer. I think the fight before Michael Zerafa he's an Australian boxer, but he's a decent boxer, okay? He has some skills. Actually, when he was facing Peter Quillen, this was back in 2015, he actually was landing some good shots on Peter Quillen before Peter Quillen stopped him by KO. Caught him really good against the ropes, and that was basically it. He's a good boxer, and he fought at middleweight. He fought Quillen, then he came back down from middleweight to super welterweight, and in that is in Melbourne, Australia. Moved up the ranks, and so this is why he was matched up against Brook. But he's a pretty strong guy, you know what I mean? So it was good to see that Michael Zerafa faced Kell Brook and actually went the distance. Kell Brook became right hand happy, just trying to land that 1-2, almost like Deontay Wilder style. And, he's trying to get Zerafa out of there. And when you try to knock out somebody, that's when you just don't get it knocked out. So he dominated, but for the most part, Kell Brook kind of disappointed people who wanted to see the knockout. So that's how people felt about it. Me personally, I didn't feel that bad about what happened. I thought that Zerafa had good enough boxing skills and started to box Kell Brook. And so when Kell Brook actually started to outbox, get start to really get into the fight, because he was trying to get rid of Zerafa. They, he realized he had kind of underestimated him, was a little bit off and whatever. And so the fight went the way it did. Lomachenko, however, versus Jose Pedraza was a different kind of fight. Pedraza literally had a lot of skills. He moved from southpaw to orthodox. He would move on and sometimes switch from southpaw to orthodox. He had some beautiful boxing footwork. Once he kept busy, he didn't freeze up in front of Lomachenko. Lomachenko couldn't find him. And of course, as you could see in that fight also, he did some damage to Lomachenko as well. So all of this was good stuff to know and keep mention of and note. I saw that Vasily Lomachenko, while he did show, his movement again, was generally following the technical rules of boxing. So if you look at Vasily Lomachenko, he was using lead foot dominance when he was in the southpaw position, and Pedraza was in the orthodox position. But Pedraza would just shift and become in the southpaw stance. Now Lomachenko had to use some other approach. And his approach, Lomachenko would have to sometimes now start to try and get encroach his footwork into the space of Pedraza. So how he would do this is two different ways. One is to use virtual distance, and he would keep his body back. So he'd be back this way, but my foot is right here. It's right here in front. So I'm creeping in on you, but I look like I'm further away. So it was something that Lomachenko would use with Pedraza and then lean in. The other thing he would do is test Pedraza's jab by leaning in and bobbing under the jab. So sort of lean forward and in. And you see this with, again, this is typical of guys like Canelo did this sometimes. You have also other boxers like Manny Pacquiao faced him. What was the guy's name? Hold on, I'll tell you. Here we see Manny Pacquiao faced. Let me tell you, it was a very good. He's very good. Very good African boxer, which is I think this is featured bout in the United States. Leo da Dwaba. Leo da Dwaba did the same thing. You peek into your jab, kind of lean into your jab, and just kind of bob and weave under the jab. So we're seeing Lomachenko doing some of that stuff. But Lomachenko really thrived best when he could get lead foot position and then land a straight left, or use his combinations and then pivot away. So he liked to pivot. He would throw his combinations and then pivot, throw his combination and pivot. That was his thing. But what happened was that in this fight, actually, we saw that Jose Pedraza would actually match him in terms of footwork. And so he couldn't get the angle. Sometimes they said he looked like he was coming straight in. In the 11th round, he started throwing flurries. So he took it up, tried to throw flurries, and that really, Pedraza was ducking most of the flurries. And then all of a sudden, he started to really overswarm him, caught him with a good shot, and really swarmed him with the flurries. So Pedraza got knocked down the first time by a body shot, which he didn't even see. The second time, he got hit by a body shot again. And Lomachenko was going in for the kill, but Pedraza was still on his feet. He was a little bit slower. Pedraza had slowed down as the fight progressed. And I think because Pedraza was kind of slowing down. In the 12th round, Pedraza just didn't engage at all. He sort of kept, Lomachenko at bay with his jab. Nice footwork by Pedraza. You could see why Pedraza was a champion. But again, a lot of people with expectations thought that Pedraza was going to get, just annihilated by Lomachenko. And a few people said that that was not going to be the case, and it actually was a close fight up to the 10th round. The 11th round, Lomachenko really pulled away because he was the more active fighter. Then he got the 2 knockdowns, and the 12th round, Pedraza kind of saved face because he was tired. And that's the thing about boxing. Boxing is a marathon. You look at Gervonta Davis versus Jose Pedraza, same thing. Pedraza started slowing down, so coming around it, the 6th, 7th round, he started slowing down, and Gervonta Davis just jumped on him, got him out of there. Some people say, well, Lomachenko should have finished Pedraza faster than Gervonta Davis did, but that's not the case. Pedraza was a true champion, one, and then two, Gervonta Davis was fighting a different kind of fight as a southpaw. Gervonta's a lot faster and quicker than Lomachenko. He jumps on you like, psh. But Lomachenko does a number of things, and almost all the fighters, Alexander Usyk, Vasily Lomachenko, that fighter that beat Adonis Stevenson recently. Is it Dmitry Bivol? No, it's not Bivol. It's the other guy. What's his name? Hold on a second. Alexander Gavorstik, right? They are all taught by Vasily Lomachenko's father. And you look at them, they all fight just outside the pocket. And then they get into the pocket, but they go back out. So they're in and out fighters, kind of like Manny Pacquiao. Why this is interesting, and they're pretty fundamentally sound, by the way, is that if you stay on the inside with these guys, one of the things I noticed was the problem with Pedraza was he started getting predictable, right? But if you stay on the inside of these guys, rough them up a little bit, take the fight to them really hard. You know how to do pivot work and that kind of stuff. And you take the fight to them. You actually find that you can actually rough them up and beat them. All right. I remember Alexander Usyk versus hope I spelled that right. Alexander Usyk. Oh, there you go. If you look at the fight Alexander Usyk had with Michael Hunter, now Usyk coming down to the final rounds, he did the same thing that Lomachenko did to Pedraza. He just really started taking up the count and just started really throwing a whole bunch of shots at Michael Hunter. And 12th round, Michael Hunter survived the 12th, but 11th and 12th round, Usyk and Lomachenko both took their punch stats just way up. And it just shows their cardio. Whereas you may be fatigued and you're slowing down, they're picking up. So what I would say is the conditioning of these guys is really good. It's very important to have good conditioning. But when you look at guys like even Dmitry Bivol and otherwise, the style of boxing is mostly on the outside. They're actually staying on the borderline between inside and outside. They're not mid-range fighters, like, say, Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez. They're outside fighters, and they use angles. They keep on pivoting. And they look for textbook ways to beat the opponent. And they do things rather continuously and at a brisk pace. Not very fast, not very slow, but continuously at a brisk pace. So I found that guys like these kinds of fighters, Lomachenko, Pedraza, etc. Lomachenko, Usyk, Bivol, all of these Ukraine fighters, I see the same kind of similarity between their fighting styles. And I would say to you guys that based on that, I think they're very beatable if you can understand and get them at your preferred range. Another thing they do, because they're just on the outside, when you throw a punch, they can make you miss. And then they can proceed to try and make you pay, especially if they can get you to reach. If you're a well-balanced boxer, then they're not going to get you to reach, so they're not going to get to really beat you. Now, when I think about guys like Mikey Garcia, which people are talking about Loma facing next, Loma next for Mikey Garcia, and Gervonta Davis as the two tests for these guys, Gervonta Davis being in a low weight class, I would say this. Lomachenko has consistently been seeing and dealing with. Uh, he's been dealing with consistently tougher competition. Okay, so I would say that as his competition is getting better and better, you'll find him not getting rid of his opponents like that. I don't think that I don't think that Lomachenko actually won every single round. I'd say every other round he was winning. So um, since this went all the way to the distance, 12 rounds, definitely got the 11th round by, it was an 8-10, maybe even 7-10 round. But when you look at rounds like 1 through round through 10, you're looking at almost 5-5. So this fight ended up being a 7-5 fight, which is a pretty close fight. And it's interesting, Lomachenko saying he wouldn't want to have a rematch with Pedraza. That's interesting, seeing his face was all busted up. He was talking about headbutts and stuff. I didn't really see headbutts. I saw punches. So I would say that this was one of his tougher fights. Jorge Linares did quite well against him, dropped him. I think Jose Pedraza did better than Linares. And it just shows not only that at the higher weight class you're getting better competition, but I think also because he doesn't have to deal with, he's not dealing with a guy who he can drag up in weight class to fight. The competition is actually becoming more competitive. Because Pedraza is a special breed because he was a switch hitter, and he could fight on the inside, on the outside. He could use his range. He could mix it up on the inside. Now, where did Pedraza go wrong? Mostly when he was transitioning out, when he's trying to pull out of a punch, just finished throwing his jab. Lomachenko would stay on the fringe and then dive in, or pivot to the side and land a punch, a T-angle punch on Pedraza, catch him really nice and flush as he's pulling out. I think that's mostly where Pedraza would get hit by Lomachenko. But Lomachenko did some really good work. Don't get it wrong. I thought the fight was a lot closer than the judges gave it on the scorecards, seeing that the commentators and everybody was looking at Lomachenko and not really paying attention to what Pedraza was doing. So, and Pedraza got Lomachenko hurt a couple times, so that was good. So, at the end of the day, Lomachenko versus Jose Pedraza, a lot of people saying, Lomachenko looks like, he let down, he's not this invincible guy that we all know and see and so on. I would say this about Lomachenko. He's facing tougher and tougher competition. As the competition gets tougher, he's not going to be making people quit. He's not going to make people be put away. Jose Pedraza was a good fight, but a guy like Mikey Garcia is very technical. Who knows what to do to make sure that Lomachenko doesn't just get an edge on him. It's going to be even a tougher fight. Now, at the present moment, Mikey Garcia is, I believe, what is Mikey Garcia? Hold on. He is also a dual champion as well. He holds 2 belts. Hold on a second, man. So in the lightweight division, we have Lomachenko and we have Mikey Garcia. And Mikey Garcia, at this present point in time, he is the WBC and I do believe IBF. He is the WBC IBF world champion. I don't know if they stripped him of the IBF title, which he won of Adrian Broner. I'm sorry, no, not Adrian Broner. He won it from Dejan Zlatikanin. He knocked out Dejan Zlatikanin. And the IBF title he won from Sergey Lipnitz. Oh, no. Sorry, my bad. He won the IBF title over Robert Easter Jr. Believe it or not, he won the WBC super lightweight title against Adrian Broner and then the IBF super lightweight title against Sergey Lipnitz. I think the Diamond super lightweight title is a special title. It's not an actual title. But it was really cool to see that. So Mikey Garcia has the WBC and the IBF, and Vasily Lomachenko has the WBO and WBA. So they can unify. I think that's why Vasily Lomachenko wants to unify. So that would be awesome. Anyway, guys, I got to call it a day for this. I got to head out and try and get some stuff and come back. But the division of lightweight is an interesting division. I just want to show you guys some of the rankings for it. So you have Lomachenko, who's at the top. You have Mikey Garcia. Then you have Luke Campbell. You have Jose Pedraza, Anthony Corolla, Robert Easter Jr., Javier Fortuna, Eureka Gamboa is in that division, and Raimundo Beltran, Ricky Burns. Okay, those are the names you need to remember. So those are the people who were in this division. I don't know if Lomachenko's going to campaign at lightweight and stay there. He's going to move up, but let's see what can happen with him. Now, in terms of the super featherweight division, I think that's where Gervonta Davis lies. He's second to Miguel Berchelt. There's also Miguel Berchelt, but I don't think Miguel Berchelt can really handle Silly Lomachenko. But the division in which Gervonta Davis is in is the super featherweight division, so that's what's up. Now, Kell Brook always wanted to fight Amir Khan, but it looks like Amir Khan will be facing Terrence Crawford. That's what they're saying, at least. I don't know if it'll be so all the way through, but we'll see. But Terrence Crawford, man, has been saying that they had these different proposals for different people, but at the end of the day, man, you got to ask yourself, who's he actually going to fight? So they're saying Amir Khan, we'll see. But in terms of Kell Brook, I don't know if Kell Brook can move down to welterweight and join the welterweight brood. He's speaking about doing so. We'll see what really actually happens there. Anyway, guys, that's about it for me and the recap of the weekend fights. Some people are thinking that Deontay Wilder won't rematch Tyson Fury. Maybe Wilder will take the opportunity to face Anthony Joshua, or maybe Tyson Fury will face Anthony Joshua. We'll see what happens. What I can tell you is I don't think Tyson Fury is going to shirk from a rematch. And if anything, it'll be on Wilder's end. Maybe you may say the window closing concerning him and Anthony Joshua getting that unification bout, or maybe not. But we will see in time. So, guys, man, that is my 2 cents on everything. Hope you guys have a good one. Blessings. Peace and out.